So, mid-session update over, and we're now working on our mindset. Working hard to keep tilt at bay, and then God sends us the ultimate test. We return to find our good buddy Rain Delay is now seated to our direct left. Oh Lord, send me strength. We are back in the game for about half an orbit when this hand transpires. The low jack limps. I make it $40 in the hijack with queen jack offsuit, and both the big blind and low jack come along. I asked for a good hand, and this one, paired with the flop of 3 of hearts, deuce of hearts, jack of diamonds, qualifies. The big blind checks, but again, before action gets to me, a large donk bet is placed. The low jack leads for $60. This is a pretty easy call. The big blind folds, and now we're heads up. The turn ace of clubs sucks. Not only is it an overcard to my pair, but it brings in a straight. When the low jack checks, I do as well. The river 5 of clubs isn't much better, and the low jack checks again. A bet here isn't going to find value in many worse hands than mine, so I check it back, and fortunately win this one when the low jack shows me that she missed her 8 high flush draw. Two hands later, we get into a similar spot against the same player, only this time it's me that makes a pretty big mistake. The low jack villain from the last hand is now under the gun, and once again she limps into the pot, and again next to act, I raise to $40, this time holding ace king of diamonds. Action returns to her, and she finds the call. Deja vu. On the flop of jack of diamonds, 7 of diamonds, 4 of hearts, she donks again, just like she did with the previous hand holding a flush draw. Her having another flush draw, though, would be quite hard since I'm holding the nut flush draw, but so be it. We obviously call her $50 donk bet. The turn is where I really mess up. It's the 10 of spades. Our villain checks, and honestly, this should be an extremely easy check behind for me, even picking up additional equity and only holding ace high. Why, you ask? Well, let's see what happens when I do what I did, which is bet $150. She pauses, then check raises me to $340. Luckily for me, her sizing was off. Had she check raised me to a larger size, I most likely would have been forced to fold a ton of equity before seeing the river. As is, my mistake only cost me $190, but it's still a big mistake. We put the mistake behind us, make the call, and then pray we leapfrog whatever hand she currently has because we're pretty sure she doesn't have a flush draw. It's most likely a set, or she turned 2 pair with something like jack 10. The 5 of clubs on the river isn't what we're looking for, and we pretty quickly check behind when she checks. I mean, we can still beat queen 9 of diamonds, maybe? No luck. We muck our hand when she shows us a set of 4s. A few hands later, our buddy Rain Delay doubles up with pocket jacks. I tell him, nice hand, but I didn't really mean it. Another orbit passes and we get into another hand with the young lady on our direct right. Again, she begins with a limp under the gun, only to find me raising her from the low jack, this time with pocket deuces. Action folds back around to her, and she calls, once again. On this flop, the poker gods have shined favor down upon us. We flop bottom set on king, jack, deuce, rainbow. No donk bet from her now, she checks. I bet $50 and she snap folds. Externally, I'm holding it together, laughing and joking with Rain Delay. Internally, we're at DEFCON 3.
Take us to DEFCON 3, get on the sack, tell them to flush the bombers. Sir.
We aren't quite at nuclear tilt yet, but it's not looking good. We're beginning to internally combust. 20 minutes later, I open from the under the gun 1 spot with 8-7 suited and the cutoff calls. The button now 3-bets to $90, which is a smaller than expected raise size. His raise size makes me want to call this 3-bet, even knowing that in this configuration, I'm really not calling that often. Not calling that often at DEF CON level 3 means we're calling or raising everything. We call and the cutoff calls behind. 8-5-3 with 2 diamonds. Seeing an 8-high flop is probably one of the best outcomes I could have. Unfortunately though, I'm still out of position versus 2 players, one of which is the pre-flop 3-better. I check, as does the cutoff, and the button now bets $150. The decision here isn't whether to call or fold. It's whether to call or check raise. His C-bet size, coupled with the fact that another player is in the hand, and me knowing that the button really shouldn't be C-betting this board all that often for that size, pushes me to call. So I do. The cutoff folds, and we're now heads up. The turn 9 of spades falls, and again, another card better for me than him, but still, I don't have the betting lead, and this card isn't quite good enough for me to just lead into him like an 8 or a 7 would be. I check again. When he checks this back, I'm pretty sure I'm ahead, as his range still contains a lot of Ace X and King X type hands that aren't pairs. The 4 of clubs river is a great sight. The plan now is to continue checking and to snap off his river bluffs. A lot of the time, I just have ace or king high myself, and it's hard for me to call a river bet with those hands, allowing him to win by betting his non-paired hands like queen jack suited, for instance. This time, however, I do have a pair, and he's going to get called. He bets $100 into around the $600 pot, and I snap call, fully expecting to win this pot until he tables 4-5 of hearts for a river 2 pair. We are now at DEF CON 2.
Go to DEF CON 2.
The very next hand, we look down at our old friend Ace-King offsuit and open to $30 from under the gun. We get 2 callers, the hijack and the big blind. 3 ways we see the flop of 7 of hearts, 9 of hearts, 7 of diamonds. The big blind checks, and I choose not to bet this flop, but the hijack does. He bets $60. The big blind quickly folds, and although I don't love it, my hand is still a bit too good to fold just yet, especially holding the ace of hearts. We call. The turn 7 of clubs is a big nothing for me. We check again and quickly fold when the hijack continues for $150. These misses are adding up. We stay at DEF CON 2. On a positive note, I think I'm a pretty self-aware person. I know that I'm at DEF CON 2. I also know that I have chips to top off my stack in my pocket. Topping off here would be disastrous. A punt is brewing, so I need to protect me from me. The wise move would be just to tap the table twice, say good luck to everyone, and just head out. The more pleasurable move would be to suck out on someone and double up. That's DEF CON 2. That's where we are. About 15 minutes have passed since the 4-5 of hearts debacle, and action has folded around to us on the button. We open pocket 7s to $30 and get raised to $120 from rain delay in the small blind. He's fully aware that button opens are extremely wide and is more than capable of leveraging the inherent tightness of the small blind to put pressure on that. But we actually have a hand. Not one that often 4-bets, but it's good enough to call. We do. The flop of ace-ace deuce actually makes me feel better. It doesn't eliminate the possibility of me being smoked by trips, but it lessens it. He checks, as do I. The turn 6 of clubs puts 2 clubs on the board, and after a small tank, he bets $100. The turn doesn't change much, especially with me holding a club, so I call. The river 8 of spades falls, and he checks again. I don't like it. Him checking on the river makes my heart sink. He has showdown value. I check behind, and he shows me 8-9 of hearts. DEF CON 1. Blast off is imminent. Full meltdown in progress. I hated that river. When you checked, I was like, I wanted you to bet so bad. Like, the pain of that check was so ridiculous. Checked. I go, thing now. Like, that's legit went through my head. I was like,
Flush the bombers, get the subs in launch mode. We are at DEFCON 1. DEFCON 1.
we are now looking for a hand to punish someone with. Discipline and study, that's out the window. We are in pain. We want someone else to be in pain. That's honestly it. A couple hands later, we look down at ace 9 of spades with a bit over $300 in front of us. In the moment, I am lost to just how much money $300 is. It's quite a bit of money. It doesn't feel like it in game though. It feels light. It feels like $9.50. We ponder just shoving tournament style, but we were bailed out by a button open and a small blind raise in front of us. So we fold. I was unreasonably excited to look down at that hand. I don't know why. Like, I was just, like, it's not exciting. I was just, I was unreasonably excited.
There are,
Like I was gonna do something disrespectful. Yeah. Let's be clear. I'm not proud of these moments, but they are what they are. Sometimes they're just full meltdowns. Here, Under the Gun has opened at $30, and we look down through DEFCON 1 eyes at a monster. Ace 3 of diamonds. All in. Full punt. I mean, what other play is there? Long story short, the Under the Gun player calls with Ace King, and I end up getting lucky by pairing a 3 on the first board for a chop. That chop actually brought me back to my senses. Sometimes it's not your night, or week, or month even. Sometimes it's just time to go.
I know exactly where I've been, but what's good in the future that's already built in. I'll be waiting for what feels like the answer I want, not the answer I need. Months after you left me, I thought I was ready, but my heart was heavy, and that's when I knew.
I know the rules. I know the rules. The rules are not to give the end of session wrap up in a dark ass Bellagio garage because of criminals. Today, we throw caution to the wind. We're done with the session. We were in for $2,000 and we were out for $270. So if there's criminals around and they want to risk it all for $270, I'm your man. So unfortunately today we couldn't do the things. We couldn't do the things that you need to do to be profitable in a poker session. We couldn't hit draws. We couldn't get pairs to hold up. We just couldn't make hands. Not only could we not make hands, we couldn't even catch boards that we could bluff on. Just none of the things worked. And in a 1,500 cap 5-10 game, something's got to work at some point. Otherwise, you end up like I did, in for $2,000, out for $270. But here's the silver lining. It's day one of this year. Day one. Got a lot more days. So, until I catch you next time on one of the other 364 days of this year, if you like the vlogs, subscribe, leave me a comment. I'll probably respond. And, I don't know. What else I say? Share it? I don't know. I'll catch you later. Bye.
That heartbreak is a dish best served cold. It waits for the moment when things start to get old.
That much I know. I know we're heading to the Bellagio. I want to give a big shout out to Lily Newhouse.
Did I do it? Oh my god, did I do it?
But here's the deal. It's my vlog. I can do what I want. I don't have to go directly to the Bellagio when anything's from the grocery store. And I currently have more than that, so things are going not gonna rob me on Martin Luther King Jr. holiday birthday day? How rude. You stuck around through this whole video, the whole thing, just to see my mistakes? Okay, I'll show you. Whatever. Because not only are we fighting these people in the game, we're fighting tilt. Entitlement tilt is a thing. So, until then, we're gonna get in this car. I'm gonna go home. Let's get in, get out. January 1st, 2023. Happy New Year to everyone. And enough with the small talk. Let's go play poker. New me, a myriad of new goals, new things to do, new card rooms to play in, blah, 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 blah. What am I talking about? I've decided to head back to the Bellagio for shenanigans. Shenanigans inbound today at the Bellagio. That's what I think. Let's get to this. Oh, it is windy today. Traffic was nutty. Half the streets are blocked off. It's obviously crazy inside the Bellagio, and my dumbass is sitting in the middle of the... So I'm going to tell you a story before I get on the actual highway and start. I decided to head to the Bellagio. I decided I was going to vlog that session, and everything was going to be wonderful. And the strip on New Year's Eve...
That heartbreak is a dish best circle.
So we get to the Bellagio, we sit down, things are going. But since then, not much really. I mean, I lost a hand with 3-5 suited. 3-5 suited I lost with. 3-5 suited, that river 2 pair I lost with. Luckily for me,
Mornings are the same. I don't wanna play this game. Let me go back to sleep.